Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, and welcome one, welcome all, to my newest segment of Markets That Look Ahead. Okay, we need to talk. There's a few things out here that we need to look out for and listen for. Let's talk about that. So, this market is stupid. I think we all know that. And by stupid, I mean it's gone straight up essentially for weeks. I've been explaining to you that this market needs to give some back. It's been very reluctant to do that. Other than Thursday, last Thursday, this market fell fractionally, and then Friday we had a mixed market. This is nothing. You cannot have an environment where stocks continue to march straight up without any kind of a pullback. Okay, that's the truth. So keep that in mind for this week. Now, I'm not saying we're going to definitely get a pullback this week, but I would personally welcome one. I really would, in a massive way. Let me explain to you how markets work. As a matter of fact, let me draw a lovely picture on my little thing here. Okay. So let's say you have a market that is going straight up, kind of like, let's see if you can get like that. Okay. What you expect to happen is this. You would expect the market to fall and to a support level. You got that? And then from the support level here, you would expect that the market to go up again. Okay. Time and time again, this is exactly how this market has played out. Now, if you were to look back on, I don't know, the last whole bunch of markets or look ahead segments I have done, this market has performed pretty much exactly like I expected it would. And I think this week is going to be no exception. So let's cover some more of that. Where are the clues? Understand there are always clues for you and I to look at with regard to where the market's going to go, where assets are going to go, and where they're going to try to push it. So right now, if you were to look at, let's say, cryptocurrencies are under a little bit of pressure. The dollar is under a little bit of pressure. Gold and silver are about flat. Crude oil is about flat. And the 10-year yield is hovering at about 0.63, which is stable. Okay, I don't like the 10-year yield being here in any way, shape, or form. It needs to be higher. There is no doubt about it. But in this environment of suppressed rates, that's the way it's going to play out, at least for now, when you have a central bank that's run amok, that's buying everything in sight with no one wanting to do a damn thing about it. I'm referring to our inept politicians from the president on down, and Fed presidents saying, yeah, how much cash do you need? We got it. You know, they're foaming at the mouth. You have to understand, Fed presidents, their job is to issue more debt. That's the whole job of the Federal Reserve. Issue more debt, more debt, more debt. It makes them exponentially stronger every day that they're allowed to issue more debt. It's incredible. Really is. And it's astonishing to me how few people understand central banking. Seriously, especially some of these YouTube channels are out here pushing their propaganda page shill narrative. They don't understand how central banks work, and they're trying to convince people that they're like a regular bank. It's it's laughable. It really is. All right. So like I said, we have a few clues here. But what I want you to focus on right now is this. If you were to go to the mainstream channels right now, they are devoid of one thing. And I was searching all morning for it. Some kind of headline news that would be either stock market positive or stock market negative. The fear narrative has obviously been in full swing. You know, COVID-19 is coming to get you. You're going to die. Start to prepare your funeral. You know, that's the narrative. It's in our face. It's what they're doing right now. It's over the top, in my opinion. Now, the fact that right now we're not seeing anything at all stock market positive in the news means to me that either they're holding it back, that they may float out some kind of vaccine positive narrative, maybe pre-market, overnight or tomorrow, or some kind of news on China trade, or something that'll boost the market. You understand? The fact that there's nothing right now is suspicious to me. I mean, and we've seen this again too. Look, this isn't me being a conspiracy theorist. They've done this over and over and over again. And you and me, how many times have I posted like a pre-market report? Look what they're floating out, people. Look what they're floating out. They do this over and over again, and they think that we're so stupid that we don't see it. So I'm not saying that this is definitely going to happen, but would it surprise me? Absolutely not. Especially that there's nothing here. There's no, new drugs coming down the pike for coronavirus and it's going to cure the world and we have a new vaccine. It's fantastic. It's tremendous. Whatever. But this is, their typical, mode of operation. This is what they do all over again because it's about the market. The market is being used, again, as a major tool of distraction and a major tool of deception. That's all it is. People sit there and they watch the stock market and they say, hey, everything must be just totally fantastic because stocks just keep going up. Meanwhile, the mechanism here is too easy. You got investment banks buying the market with unlimited capital directly from the Fed. You got hedge funds, the major hedge funds, in the same boat. They're getting capital directly from the Fed. They're buying the market, and the Fed is buying it all. Period, the end. Forget about their freaking balance sheet, okay? So it's over $7 trillion, right? Think about what I just said. I mean, people let this number just fly over their head. Here in the United States, we have a central bank, a non-government entity, okay? It's no more federal than Federal Express, holding $7 trillion in debt, for which there's only 1.93 actual printed dollars on Earth. That's it. That's the only dollars you can hold in your hand. The rest of it is in fantasy land. It doesn't exist. It's not on the elemental chart. You understand? It's fairy dust. It's unbelievable. But people walk through time and space thinking all of this is real. Let me just say this too as well, and I've covered this before. No one knows, nobody knows how many dollar derivatives are out there. What am I referring to? Dollar denominated assets that are based on dollars that have derivatives behind them. Now, I've covered derivatives before. I'm a derivatives trader. That's all I do is I trade derivatives. You know that, okay? There are multiple layers of derivatives. There's not just one layer. There is a second layer, a third layer, a fourth layer. I mean, you could go on and have derivatives of derivatives of derivatives. The same thing with regard to the dollar. So if you were to factor this in, how many dollar derivatives are out there? It's in the multiple quadrillions. It's a number so big that it's literally astronomical. But again, we walk around, or people walk around through time and space like this is all okay, like this is all real. You understand? It's so twisted. It really is. And look, for me and for you, what are we really doing? What are we doing by, if you're a trader, you're trading the fakery. That's all this is, okay? And I've done a hell of a job keeping you ahead of this market. It's pretty incredible. If you are a stacker or even a holder of cryptocurrency, you're betting against the current environment. And I believe that you already know this, but I'm going to say it right now. The US dollar in its current form is literally going away by design. Henceforth, why the Federal Reserve is using the current form of the dollar to buy everything, to funnel cash around the world to other central banks everywhere owned by the same entities. A new dollar is coming out. I've covered this many, many times. It will again be 100% debt based. It will be blockchain based as well, 100% digital. You're going to take those bills that you hold in your pocket and tell your grandchildren, we used to use these at one point to buy things. Really, Grandpa? Can you tell me more? I mean, that's really where it's going to go. I mean, it's so obvious to me. It's just a matter of flipping a switch. I mean, right now, with $1.93 trillion of actual existing dollars, where am I getting this number from? Go to the Federal Reserve's own website. Just go to Google. How many dollars are actually in circulation? 1.93 trillion. All right. The rest of it, like I said, it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's in fantasy land, and it's not on the elemental chart. So anyway, look, this week with regard to the market, and I know I'm going around in circles here, is going to be headline driven. And we're going to see, is it fear or greed that's going to win out? If they float out some positive news with regard to coronavirus, because it's all consuming, it's everywhere. With regard to the mainstream media pushing the narrative, the vaccine narrative, whatever it might be, you had President Trump holding up swabs. Did you see that? Holding up testing swabs. Why, Mr. President Trump, are you doing this? I don't understand what the heck is going on here. We don't need to see nasal swabs about this long here, you holding them up. I really don't think we do, unless you feel like it's important for whatever reason. All right, whatever. Look, I'm not going to beat up on the president here. It doesn't matter. He's a puppet. I think you all know that. But again, expect headline news to drive this market, and expect fear and greed to drive the market as well. So if you know where to look, and I know if you follow this blog, you're as clear can be. 10-year yield. If the 10-year yield drops, what does that tell you? That's telling you that fear is taking over the market. If you see the 10-year yield climb, greed is climbing is gripping the market and causing it to rise. It's a very, very, very simple concept. I'm losing my mind. Fluidity of money. That's just the way it works. Cash does not go to money heaven. It simply moves through the market in a predictable way. I think you get it. All right. Look, with that said, long video. I think it's very important. Please share this video. Get it out there. And look, like I always say, we are not going to lose. They're going to play their game. You understand? We are going to play ours. And I got you all covered from every angle. I mean, we're invincible. We're literally invincible here. I'm not a one-trick pony. You all know that. I'm into metals. I'm into cryptocurrencies. I'm into this market. I trade it. I think... I don't know, and look, maybe I will toot my horn a little bit here. I don't know a better trader than me. I don't personally know of one. I think there may be somewhere, and my lions will attest to that. Greg is pretty darn good, and that's only because it's all I do. I study this thing around the clock. I understand the mechanism. We know the grand plan. The grand plan is very simple: for the Federal Reserve to be the lender and buyer of last resort, henceforth, so they can own the world. This has been their scheme since their inception in 1913 to own the world. And right now is this engineered environment. They created it, all right? It has allowed them to do that. And our politicians, more debt, please. How much can you lend us? Could you imagine? Could you imagine elected officials from the president all the way down, calling for more debt, calling for suppressed rates, calling for a weaker dollar? Sure, weaker dollar will help multinational corporations because that's the corporate agenda here in the new America. But how will a weaker dollar help you? The President of the United States has yet to answer that question. It's a big mystery, isn't it? To most of the people, but to you and I, we know that a weaker dollar will just make life harder for everybody because it takes more weaker dollars to buy anything. It's so simple. Look, all this is just too easy. And if you have a handle on what's going on around you and you understand the big picture, well, it couldn't be easier for you. Anyway, that's why you got me to help you out. And I really do love you from my heart. It's the truth. I'm out of here. See you in the morning.